Hey guys, it's me, Matt. I've got some news for you. It's a little unfortunate. Today's audio may not sound super great. I'm recording this on my AirPods on my phone to give you a little update. As I was editing this episode, we found out that we didn't hit the record button on our mics. So if the audio this week sounds a lot different, sorry. We messed up. So, audio this week's coming from a camera that was set up. No mic, it's just coming straight from the camera itself. It is going to be interesting. It's not too bad. We removed all of the sounds, so kind of like the echoes decreased, but it's turned up as much as we can. Trying to remove some gain and all that kind of fun stuff. But I do apologize about that, guys. So sorry. On today's episode, we have the third grade, second place spelling bee champ with us, Blake Converse. He joins us with his wide knowledge on just about any athletic-related fact. It's kind of scary. Will his knowledge on athletics get the best of our host? Today, Logan, with a strong lead, gets bold. He claims you have to beat the best to be amongst the best, and gives us 3 stories about the need to compete. Will Logan's confidence drown him, or will he hit a home run? Spencer, focusing only on the special guest today, gives us 3 stories about the state of California. Will his stories catch fire and give him some points? Or will Blake surprise him with his knowledge of the state of California? Matthew, that's me, really just here because of his contract. Fair. Joins us with 3 stories about art. Now, last time Matt ventured into this category, it was worse than everyone's kindergarten paintings that our parents hung on the fridge. Let's be real. Those weren't good. And neither was my last time trying to do this style of, or this category. But, can he steal some points this episode? Or will the art send him packing? Find out all of this and more on today's episode. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. Enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of the Stumped Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Spencer.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Logan.
Matt.
Today we have a very special guest hailing all the way from northeast Mishawaka area, Indiana. My former roommate, a former teammate of ours, the man with very interesting facts, although he's not telling any today, Blake Converse.
Wow, thanks for having me on. Big fan, long-time listener, first-time caller. I do have to say, though, I was listening to an episode from last season, and I do have some beef here, okay? So you guys were talking about which celebrities that you looked like.
I would just like to leave already.
I don't remember what we said.
Logan.
No, I was told this.
I love you. Whoever told you you look like Tom Holland is way off.
Well, you're more accurate, actually. We had this discussion when this episode came out. Kiefer Sutherland?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay.
Have you seen 24?
No.
Yes.
Jack Bauer.
Not a clue.
Oh my gosh,
More
this
accurate.
kid in movies is trash.
Tom Holland.
Tom
I
Holland,
completely
worst
forgot
thing
about
in the
that.
world. I'm just glad that you actually brought that up because
did.
we don't bring it up enough that that's trash.
No, I mean, I never claimed it. It was told to me.
You told us.
No,
You told
you-
her
Well,
why.
You were very proud of it. You were really hoping deep down that
I
we
passed
would
it
tell
off.
you that like
No.
you do. And
He put that in the ether. He was just hoping
Yeah.
someone would like DM
He's
him.
the one who threw it out there anyway.
Look, I don't need that sort of boost. I've been told once, and that's enough for my life.
That is true. You only need to
Once
get
more
told
than
the
I
wrong
deserve.
thing.
So the reason I bring it up is because a couple days ago I got told, and I've been told this 6 or 7 times, so you guys might want to check out who this is. I get told this a lot. The celebrity people tell me I look like a guy named Bill Pullman.
Someone look it up.
He's the president from Independence Day.
Matt, I need to see
no,
a
I
picture.
see
Let me
it.
see a
I've
picture.
literally been told
I
this
see
like
it.
Let me see
6 or
it,
7
Spencer.
times.
I can
will
see it.
Definitely add a photo to
That's-
our.
I mean,
That's
the
way more
hair-
likely than Tom
yeah.
Holland.
No, the hair's there. The jawline's almost the same. I see it.
That's pretty good. So also one time at an Applebee's, a woman told me I look like Clark Kent. So I'll take Superman too.
Now,
I'm
Okay,
like an
that's-
Applebee's compliment.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Listen, Clark Kent is way more realistic than Tom Holland for Logan.
No,
Hey,
we're reaching
thanks,
now.
man.
No.
Nobody could tell who
Thanks.
Clark Kent was. It makes so much sense.
You put him in glasses, it's like, who are we
I'm
talking
over,
to?
man.
I've not seen you.
You guys are way too kind. That's not. There's no, there's no
The other
Are you
guy
kidding
can see.
me?
Okay, who's kicking this off?
Well, let's maybe recap some points here.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't even remember what they were.
No.
So going into episode 7, which is today, Logan, 15. Don't do that.
Boo.
That's boo. Trash. Spencer with a 12.
I knew that was coming.
How do you get that many?
I don't know.
Come on.
And I'm sitting at a solid 7.
Could be
and,
worse.
It could be worse. It was worse last season.
Yeah.
Where are the guests at?
The guests are sitting at 12,
Which is unbelievably impressive.
which is better than me.
Our guests.
So we will be hiring someone new next year, and I'll be producing.
No, Blake's taking over.
Blake's taking the whole podcast next year.
Only him, our Blake Conversay, just
I'm
speaking
here for it.
like
Conversations
gonna-
of
yeah.
Conversay. I mean, look here
It's just
for
gonna be the Blake Conversay story. I'm gonna take over the pod.
You
Yeah.
have
I'm gonna move it in a
listener
different
stumped by
direction.
Blake. Yeah.
Can we just
Stumped by
have
Blake
you sit
Conversay.
by a fireplace and like a leather chair and
I'd love to.
That's gonna be like a spin-off, like Fireside Chats with Blake.
conversations with Conversay.
Conversations.
the
There it is.
conversation hour.
Okay, so still,
Conversational hour.
hey, we are only halfway. It's anyone's game at this point. I blew a what?
Except
7?
yours.
I
This is
just-
coming at you
oh,
all
wait,
the time.
I just say-
I like
How?
that.
I was gonna say I'm the only one getting roasted. Look at Tom Holland over here.
Well, okay.
No,
I
took
came
my
on. No,
punishment.
I came on. I took one shot at Logan.
2 shots at me.
All the other shots go to Spencer now.
Unbelievable.
You just make it too easy, man.
Oh god.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. It really is an honor, though.
Well,
Thanks
it's an
for having
honor
me.
having you on, so.
I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight, but you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, we
Okay.
doing little teasers.
Yeah, little teasers. Hit
Let's
us
do
for
it.
your teaser,
Okay.
man.
I
You're
Again.
so eager to tell us your teaser.
again. You know me. I'm a theme
Oh,
guy.
I thought you were gonna apologize.
No, not this time. Not yet. I will. I'm a theme guy. I have been. That's who I am. And I had to think. Blake knows the most random facts about everything.
That's true.
Fair.
Like literally everything. And so I said, what does Blake not know? Indiana boy, you know, kind of like athlete, strong,
Handsome,
handsome, Clark Kent-esque.
charming.
And I said, what is the most opposite thing of Blake Conversay? And I went to California.
Oh, okay. I'm probably gonna struggle with it.
And so my theme is the sunny state of California.
And here's the thing. If you want to beat the best, you got to go with the best. And
Yeah, I'm
so
a coward.
I went for Blake's strong suit here. My theme today: the need to compete. We're talking about 3 elite competitors, and if there's one person that knows competition, it's Blake. So
Thank you.
I
That's a lot of
am
pressure,
actually
Blake.
really nervous because I think he's gonna know both of my true stories.
Well, probably, yeah.
Matt, do you have a theme or are you going 3 individuals?
So my theme was to lose.
You're
I
doing
said,
great.
I know, I'm really on track.
Blake has me fired up.
My theme, I did not decide to try to beat Blake.
Mhm.
I was just like, I know I'm going to lose to him no matter what, so let me just see how I can stump these two.
Sure.
So I went with art.
Art.
Mm.
Something I know nothing about.
Yeah, you get a weak spot
I
there.
couldn't even tell you painted the Mona Lisa.
But I can tell you where it wasn't.
I would like
That's
to
a
be-
joke back to our previous podcast, so if you don't know that, it's 'cause
Listen,
you didn't
inside
listen.
joke.
Listen to episode 1.
And,
Yeah.
I don't want to relive those days. But I did choose art, that theme, so it's a little
Okay.
bit of a redemption.
And I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Okay, per the usual, Blake, usually the guest gets to choose who goes first.
Oh, you know what? Let's go Matt first.
Okay.
I like it.
God. I
Matt?
don't like this.
Hey, Matt, hit us up.
Alright, so here's my 3 things. I've got birthday cake, Van Gogh eats tomato soup, and eat my chicken noodle soup.
2 soup ones there.
2 soup ones.
One of this is
It
definitely
is
a
soup
lie.
season.
I like chicken noodle soup.
You like chicken noodle soup?
Yeah, go for chicken
Yeah,
noodle
pretty
soup.
Okay. Here we go. On a cold winter day, there's not much more that warms you up like a warm bowl of soup.
Hot chocolate.
Coffee.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you. You guys are the worst. As I continue, before I was rudely interrupted, it just hits the spot that warms your heart and comforts your soul. I just knocked everything off this table. Well, speaking of soup, what's your guys' favorite soup?
Cheddar and broccoli.
Oh no, I was gonna say
Cheddar
that.
and broccoli?
Alright, it's amazing.
Clam chowder to be different, but cheddar and broccoli is elite.
Blake,
I don't really have a good answer for you.
do you have an answer?
Let's go clam chowder.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna go clam chowder too. Well, in July of 2022, soup does not just hit the same spot in the summertime, but it did hit the spot on The Blinding of Samson by Rembrandt. A woman who appeared to be pregnant pulled a can of soup out from underneath her shirt and threw it at the painting. As she was being escorted out, witnesses said she was yelling something about the earth dying and that we need to pay more attention to renewable energy. The painting was unharmed during this event.
When did this happen?
July of 2022.
So this year.
So this year.
Was it July 23rd, 2022? Only the last date.
So
that year?
I decided to start slowly removing dates.
Yeah. July 23rd, 2022. Shout out to my wife.
So she didn't have a good arm then.
Yeah. Yeah. What painting was it?
It was The Blinding of Samson by Rembrandt.
Rembrandt.
Rembrandt, my bad.
Okay. I do not know the answer to that.
There's a pun in there somewhere about being
Yeah.
blind in soup, but I'm just not gonna make it. What's your next story?
Let's do the cake one because I know for a fact this one's
Birthday
true.
cake?
Let's do the cake one. Concerning
No, for
you're
a
taking
fact.
on too many factors with your wife
No,
here.
no, I
Just
know
making
for a-
decisions before we even do anything.
I know for a fact this story's gonna be true, so go ahead and tell it.
Okay.
There's no way you picked 2 soups and made a cake the fake.
No. This
Oh.
is the cake get thrown in that painting. I think he dresses up in a wheelchair. You want to tell it though? Is that the
Okay.
right one?
We'll find out.
Okay.
It might be really similar to it.
Okay.
Alright, well, what is truly better than getting a cake for your birthday? Right? As we get older, we get less and less for our birthdays, but most people still get a cake. Some of us like cupcakes, ice cream cake, large cakes, small cakes. Move forward. What's your guys'
Oh my
favorite
gosh.
cake?
Ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake?
I mean chocolate. It's just the more chocolate, the
The
better.
basic.
Yeah, give me a chocolate cake. Chocolate
More
frosting.
chocolate. Is there ever too much chocolate?
No.
No.
Chocolate cake, chocolate frosting, chocolate chips on top.
Oh my gosh.
Killer.
I'll give you a bunch. So,
He has no soup, but all the
red
cake.
velvet, it's a good one. I'd go vanilla over chocolate, just my preference. Basically, just put a ton of icing on there and I'm good. Frosting,
Alright.
just
Whipped.
keep it coming. Keep it
Just
coming.
keep it. I chose a good old fashioned carrot cake. Well, little did you know, or maybe you already knew, cake and paintings don't go well together. You may have already known this, but the Mona Lisa, as we discussed earlier, is in the Louvre in Paris. And that's where this scene takes place.
When did it arrive there?
It was Napoleon involved.
As we continue.
Sorry, just tell the story. Just tell the story.
In May of 2022, a client activist who was disguised with a long wig and sitting in a wheelchair, suddenly, the man jumped out of the wheelchair and threw the cake at the Mona Lisa. As he was being pulled away by the guards, he was shouting, "Think of the earth. There are people who are destroying the earth. Think about it. Artists tell you, think of the earth. That's why I did this." Fortunately, the Mona Lisa was not harmed during this attack.
What I'm learning from this is if you are a person willing to throw food at cake, you probably
You
don't
need
have
it.
an arm.
Yeah, you need it to. Yeah.
You need your pull downs.
Why do I feel like
Wait, you're saying They don't have an arm?
Well, no, they're not
Cakes are
hurting the
heavy.
cakes.
Cakes are
No,
heavy.
they're not hurting the paintings.
The
though.
paintings is
Oh,
like
okay.
bulletproof glass. You think cake's
Wow.
good?
The
Damn
paintings
it.
have a lot of protection around it.
Blake, could you get a can of soup through bulletproof glass?
Yes.
That's a good point, though. It's Blake, I mean.
Watch, I'm gonna say that story is I literally said the story before he said it, and watch that be like the false one, and I'm like remembering something completely false.
You can't do that to me. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't-
He's like, you can't pull me off.
Okay.
Alright, so Van Gogh eats tomato soup. In early October 2022, it was a normal day at for the Van Gogh painting, Sunflowers, at the National Gallery in London. Watching tourists take pictures, trying to recreate it, and whatever else art viewers do when they go to an art museum, it was hit by an unexpected treat. Though not hungry, this 1888 painting was fed tomato soup by two climate activists. Their point was that the cost of living in London was so high that people are beginning to be concerned that they are no longer able to heat up a can of soup.
Okay.
So we have to decide which
Which
soup one is false.
Which of the three people throwing food at paintings from this year
Yeah, is false.
is false?
I think the cake one is true. I'm almost very confident in that.
Blake, how's your memory of recent events of vandalism?
Not great.
So the
Not
first one,
great.
what was the first one again?
So the first one was the Rembrandt.
Yes.
But what soup?
What kind of soup? That's good.
It was the chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle soup.
I remember
Sounds
tomato
fake.
soup because didn't they like smear their hands on it too? What painting was that though?
There's been like 6 of these.
I know.
You people are nuts.
I don't know which one it is.
Blake, do you want to guess first?
Ooh, the guest guesses first.
Logan knows for a fact which one's true.
100%.
He's gonna.
He's
And I'm gonna go last.
He's just
Wait,
not
no!
saying at all.
Why?
No, he's not saying at
We
all.
can smoke him.
He wants points.
We can make him get -1.
Matt, I read the scoreboard, Spencer.
The
I know who I'm trying to smoke here, and it's not Matt.
Okay.
pro of being at the bottom.
What was the last story again? So Van Gogh.
Tomato soup
Van
at
Gogh.
chicken noodle at Rembrandt.
Okay,
or
one of
cake
these
at the Mona Lisa.
This-
one of
one of
these
the
doesn't
soups.
go together.
The cake? I know the cake one is true.
Are you trying to fake us out?
Why would I say? Why would I want to say
you
you
might-
out?
Because you-
Unless you can discuss
Because
this.
I'm tied with you right now.
That is.
Collectively,
Actually,
it's tied with you.
I think you guys should pick different ones.
I think the Rembrandt one's fake.
Are you locking it in now, or are you?
By the way, who do you guys think was the best painter? Van Gogh, Rembrandt?
I don't even know a painter. Period. Van Gogh, I'll say.
Did you
Didn't
not
he
pay
lose?
attention to
Wrong.
anything?
I was so bad in art.
My vote is Rembrandt.
Okay.
So.
I think I'm also gonna lock in Rembrandt because
Okay.
I remember tomato soup, like red soup.
Which one did Starry Night?
Van Gogh.
Van
Yeah,
Gogh.
him. That's a good.
Okay, I'll just go since Logan's not gonna jump on this. I'm locking in Rembrandt. The
Okay.
chicken noodle soup.
Where are you at?
I said Rembrandt.
Yeah, okay, that's where I'm at as well.
That's where you're at.
I'm like 99% sure I remember the tomato soup being thrown at the.
I know the
and
cake one.
Yeah, I remember both those stories very vividly, and we talk about them at work because that's the sort of thing we talk about in an office. But I've not heard.
Well,
the
I feel
tomato
like we
soup.
all got it wrong.
Don't put it past me to change like one thing right now because I'm here for points.
No, I mean I get it. And
Oh,
if
you
did,
definitely screwed us.
But you guys guessed it all.
Oh no!
Which is like
You
negative
got
one.
that? You
Yeah.
got that? All
The
right.
tomato soup. Did they smear it with their hands?
I don't
They
know. I
glued
just
their
know
hands
they-
beside it. They
Oh,
glued their
okay,
hands
right,
down
and
beside
they
it.
just-
Yeah.
I don't.
I didn't remember literally. It was only because of the soup. I remember red soup. I didn't remember the chicken noodle
So
soup.
here's what I'm pissed about.
Okay, tell
You
me.
said one's false because there's two soup stories. That's what I'm pissed
That
about.
was Logan. That was
First
Logan.
off, every time I've
I think it
ever
was
written a fake
Spencer.
story, I've
What?
had to think of that. Like, I don't want two of these to be so
Uh.
similar. I can't just model my fake story after a real story because then the other real story looks really real.
I don't know if I've ever thought about that.
Never.
No, I probably have.
I literally thought about it on the drive over here and was like,
Well,
alright,
there's
this is what I'm
probably
gonna type
a
up.
lot
Okay.
of soup vandalism going on, so
Clearly.
you never know.
This is trash.
All this to highlight a really an unnatural trend in our society. People
Yeah.
throw food at paintings behind glass.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. I guess Logan or you or me or Logan.
I quit.
Do I get to pick?
You get
You
the
get
pick.
to pick again. Yeah.
Spencer.
All
We're
right.
going California. California living.
Best for last.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so I got 3 options. I got mythical island, independent country, or the house built on God. I did not think of these titles.
Sure.
Blake?
Let's go with House Built on God.
Okay. April 1906. I gotta speak into the mic because I would get yelled at.
Sox won the World Series that year.
Really?
This is why I didn't go with sports.
I'm in so much
Okay.
trouble.
If this story
It is not.
doesn't end with Ed Walsh holding up the World Series trophy,
Okay.
I'm walking out.
April 1906. The coast of Northern California was struck by a major earthquake with an estimate moment magnitude of 7.9. High intensity shaking was felt from Eureka on the north coast to the San Francisco Bay Area. Devastating fires soon broke out in San Francisco and lasted for several days. Around 80% of the city was destroyed. However, at the center of the city, there was one church, St. Mary Cathedral, that stood. In the midst of the rubble, the church was the only building standing within a 2.5 mile radius. 2 weeks later, on Sunday, after the earthquake, more than 5,000 people gathered to worship, pray, and mourn all that had happened. The church could not hold everyone, so the priest decided to hold mass outside, which he claimed that it was an earthquake, that even an earthquake cannot break the house of God. At the time, it was believed to be the largest church gathering to be ever held in San Francisco.
San Francisco on fire. I guess not much has changed.
He's living for the
Sorry.
bum.
Yes.
I didn't mean to get political.
No. It's an area that's often hit by earthquakes. It's an area that is often burned. It sounds so realistic that I don't trust you.
So there have been a lot of stories like that. So
It's also an area with low church attendance, so like being the largest is probably
Like
not
12
that big.
people.
I think so.
2 families.
Where my head's at, I've heard a lot of stories like that before. So he could have just used that template
I know.
and put in a fake. But let's hear the
I
second.
gotta hear the other
burning. It's
Let's hear the
California.
second one.
They're all going to be around earthquakes and burning.
Which one of you did the cathedral falling?
That was me.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because I
I
missed
need to
that
bring
one.
up my past ones.
No, I was curious if he was reusing a story.
Oh,
No, that was like Notre Dame or something like that.
yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want independent country, or do you want
Yes.
mythical island? Independent country?
Yes.
Independent country.
June 1846, American settlers in Samoa rose up against the
Samoa.
Get your story straight.
Whatever. Sorry. Rose up against the Mexican authorities who governed the territory and declared the establishment of the independent California Republic. The rebels fashioned a makeshift flag with a lone star and a crude drawing of a grizzly bear. Unbeknownst to the leaders of what became known as the Bear Flag Revolt, the United States had already declared war on Mexico, and when American comrade John D. Sloat seized Monterey and raised the American flag over the city, the rebels gave up their notion of independence only weeks after it began and declared their allegiance to the United States.
You're taking me back to like 3rd grade history
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
I mean, I feel like I've heard of the grizzly bear revolt.
Well, it's their
I don't know.
flag is still that.
Yeah,
A grizzly and
yeah.
a star, but is that what happened?
Or the
I'm-
dates again.
1846.
Both can go either way.
1846.
So the question is, were we in war with Mexico in 1846?
A better question, and do you guys know this? Who is the only U.S. senator to vote against joining the Mexican-American War? He's a famous president.
That's what I'm
from
thinking. He
that
had to be
Joe
president.
Biden.
Yeah.
It was just before his first term.
I've got a poster with his quote over there.
Oh, I can't read that far.
Teddy
Garfield?
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
No, 1846.
Oh, I had no
Andrew
idea.
Jackson.
You want to tell us because we're not gonna get it.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
A house divided against itself cannot fall. Abraham.
Okay.
You guys right now are a house divided, and we need to lock it in here.
Okay. Mythical Island, 1510. Spanish author Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo penned or
Your pronunciation is on point.
wrote Las Figuras de Espondian.
Okay, this one's true because he wouldn't make up a bunch of words that he can't read. So
He just
this is
translated
true.
all into Spanish, and this whole one's just in Spanish.
A novel in which Amazon-like warriors who lived on the island of California, a paradise that abundant.
Amazon like Jeff Bezos.
There you go, dude. I'll get you.
Thanks, man.
Amazon-like warriors who lived on the island of California, a paradise that abounded in gold and precious stones. Helped the protagonist Espaldian. The story was so popular that when Spanish explorers under the command of Hernan Cortes landed on what they believed to be an island on the Pacific coast, they named it California after Montalvo's mythical island.
Oh, the person you're trying to pronounce is Descartes. Descartes.
Descartes?
Yes,
All I
Descartes.
can think of is this. Is
No.
how,
Like a la carte.
all I can think of is how Bezos titles his emails to company-wide, "Dear fellow Amazonians."
That is amazing.
That's good. Did this story happen before or after his divorce? No,
I would probably lean on before.
Okay. Well, this one's true because he wouldn't. Yeah, this one's true.
I don't put it past him, but I tend to believe
Yeah,
it's true as well. I'm thinking the church is the least believable to me.
I've heard a lot of stories like
I've heard a lot
that.
of stories like that. It's such a good template to use.
What was your second one?
It
You had
was.
the church, something, and then the
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 flag
bear.
revolt. Yep.
The bear.
The grizzly bear.
Yep.
Okay.
I feel like that one's actually
Man,
realistic.
That was a pretty good story.
I don't know, all three are good stories.
Probably a true story.
You may pull a triple stump here. I'm going and I'm locking in the San Francisco church.
Okay.
That's what I
It's
wanna
the
go
obvious
to.
choice, and I'm gonna regret it because it's wrong. The obvious is never right, but that's where I'm going.
I. Screw it. We're gonna lock in the bear.
Okay.
It's probably wrong, and you know what? I can't score any better right now. So.
Okay.
Here's the reality: if you ever go back and listen to old episodes, you just kick yourself over the things
Yeah.
you miss, and so you may very well be right.
Tell me about
like,
it. I edit them, and it's brutal. Listening to myself.
But hey, how about we give it up for Matt?
There it is.
Yep.
No.
The editing job he does
Like, what do
because
you- what do you choose?
I really don't know this one. I think the last one's probably true. I just I think if he was gonna
Spreading
make
it
up
out.
a story, although he could just change one or two parts of it. Ooh, that's a good.
We don't normally.
we generally do
generally
completely false
change
stories.
or take templates.
Yeah.
It's generally not.
General
one or
rule
two
of thumb
things.
is avoid a small
No.
change of date and name.
Yeah.
Once
Usually
they're
like-
in,
That's true.
but I feel like
Okay,
people-
so the last one's true.
Watch that one be false, and we're all just looking idiots over
I
here.
know. I'm probably.
Got a little smile on his face.
This is a true story. But here's why I put it. Does anyone know John Sloat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard.
No,
I heard you say his name.
I literally was like, this legit John Sloat in history. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think I made this up because
Yeah.
John Sloat was a resident director.
That's
when we
good
went to
thinking.
school. And I was
Good
like,
thinking.
this is a triple stump all the way.
Can't
but
stop
no.
this crew though.
The
Oh,
church
you
one.
really can't stop
Yeah,
somebody.
I only got one. I didn't get any points on that though, because he evened me out. I
Yeah.
literally was like, yeah, the church is false. The earthquake is true. destroyed 80% of the city. Legitimately true. I just added the church. I was like, because of exactly what you said, the temple. I'm like,
Yeah.
there are stories like this. This is kind of believable. The delivery was poor. I will say that. Delivery was poor.
So
So-
Logan, you got 2. Guest have 2.
Spencer has 0.
Spencer has
1.
You got
You got
mine.
1. You got
No. Because he.
You guessed mine though.
Oh yeah, you're right. I got a
Do
point.
you not want that point? I will.
I will
gladly
take
not
that
give
point.
you
I will
point.
love that point, Matthew.
I will
Wait, so
gladly not
Spencer-
give you
I'm
that
at 1. You're at 2.
Do
Logan's at
you
2.
do you
I'm
get
at
a
1.
point though because Matt guessed wrong or no?
But
You-
minus 1
because you
because
minus
You
one.
take away a point every time you guess it right. You
Oh.
take away
Yeah.
a point.
So that's
So
why
you
we
I
took
took
got
away
a
the
negative
point for
1
him.
right now. So
Yeah.
thanks.
So he got 1. I got 2. Minus 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So really, the one you want to
I
stop
still don't
is 0.
understand. All
Yes.
I know is I'm 2 for 2.
You're 2 for 2. Okay, Logan.
I have to fool you is
I'm
the.
just gonna cry over here in the corner.
Alright. So which one do you guys want first? This little piggy held on for dear life.
That one.
Don't even want to hear the rest of them. Give us the
Yeah,
little
yep, go for
Alright.
it.
This little piggy held on for dear life.
Get them off.
This story takes place in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. Held annually, the fair was the greatest compilation of inventions and shows on Earth. One attraction being held was by the newly organized World Record Club, a group that would later become known as the Guinness Book of World Records in 1955. The attraction was this: they would set up challenges for world records and give professionals a chance to beat their own records. So people who held the records were there, and they would try to beat them while simultaneously allowing pedestrians, civilians, and attenders to try them against them. So several examples of this were things such as holding your breath underwater, the longest time juggling 3 bowling balls, and many others. So one such event for this was the world record for hanging upside down from your feet. The world record holder was a Norwegian man named Harold Rise, spelled with 2 I's. They do that in Norway. With a record of 13 minutes and 52 seconds. Harold was there in the booth where he would attempt to break his own record 3 times, each time with a civilian performing against him on an identical bar. On the first attempt, Harold competed against a 17-year-old boy from Iowa named Stephen Tyrell. Both individuals got...
No way. Tyrell from Iowa. Alright, go on.
Both individuals got into position, and when the clock started, began a free hanging by their feet. Much to the amazement of the crowd, Harold did beat his world record on the first attempt, recording a jaw-dropping time of 14:33. But when he dropped, however, he looked over and saw Stephen still hanging on by his feet. Stephen went for 16 minutes and 3 seconds hanging by his feet before finally falling into a pile of straw below. His world record would stand for nearly 75 years before it was broken again. That's the first story.
So 75 years would be 1968 would be when it'd be broken.
Yes, and I did not look up future record breakers.
And who would?
What young
Who-
up and
cheers,
comer
yeah.
was around in 1968 that wanted to beat that record?
I don't
Some
know.
no name.
Is there a name?
The answer is right
Is there a
before
LeBron
the
James?
song.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's a pretty good story.
All right. Next, do you want Scrabble Masters?
Absolutely
Yes,
not.
yes.
Okay.
yes.
All right. This story covers one of the greatest athletes of our generation.
No.
One whose name appears alongside the likes of Tiger Woods and Serena Williams for most dominant athletes ever.
Is this story complete?
No, it's
Oh,
Scrabble.
thank you. No way.
Nigel Richards. Nigel is the LeBron James of Scrabble, the greatest to ever do it. Right? Born in New Zealand, I was expecting a response from Blake on that statement.
Yeah, he was a second
I know.
second grade spelling bee champ, if I'm not
Third
mistaken.
grade,
Grade
third
spelling
grade.
bee champ.
Third grade.
All right, Nigel was born in New Zealand. He won the American Scrabble Championship 5 times, the World Scrabble Championship 5 times, the UK Open 10 times, and the Singapore Open 15 times. He has won 75% of the tournaments he's ever placed in, but all that hails in comparison to this specific story of Nigel's greatness. You see, Nigel won all those tournaments in the English version of the game. The English version of the game has 187,000 words that are deemed legal and acceptable for answers. In 2015, Nigel decided to test himself and enter the French Scrabble Championship. The French version of the game had 386,000 legal and acceptable words, over double that of the English alternative. And to make it more difficult, Nigel didn't speak a word of French. To prepare for this test, he began memorizing the French dictionary, And there's a lot more than simple memorization, though. He also tried to learn French lexicon, or the language structure, to allow him to properly nuance words for both the language and the board. He entered the tournament, and despite speaking still zero French, he won, winning the final game with a score of 565 to 434.
When did this guy compete?
2015 was that one. He's still competing.
I feel like I've actually heard this before.
How old is he?
I don't know.
He's from New Zealand?
From New Zealand.
I feel like I've heard about a guy memorizing a dictionary for Scrabble.
I was about to say, there's probably been a lot of people who know.
Could he beat Shaq?
Charles Barkley, Shaq versus.
Do you guys remember that
Yeah.
commercial
Yeah.
where he's on the bus and he keeps pulling out cues? Yeah, that's a good commercial.
Okay, what's the third one?
Alright. The Great Egg Race. In 1931, in the town of Gandino, Italy, a challenge took place in which two young boys were challenged to race each other. The first one, Lorenzo Archetti, would be the runner. His job was to race a stretch of road and back along the Italian countryside, roughly 11 kilometers in distance. That's 6.8 miles for our American listeners. At the same time, for us, we have a European listener.
For those sitting at the
Shout
table.
out, shout out to our European listener. You know who you are. At the same time, Giovanni Benazzi would have the job of gathering 100 eggs and placing them in a wheelbarrow, placed 1 meter apart. The catch, he could only carry 1 egg at a time. So basically picture a football field and putting an egg on every yard marker and gathering all of them carrying 1 egg at a time before someone runs 7 miles.
It's an egg like suicide, right? Like you go
Yes,
back and forth.
yeah.
And you got 100 of them?
100. All 100 lines. So,
Jeez.
sounds like the eggs would still win, right? 7 miles is a long race, but when you do the math, 100 eggs 1 meter apart, you're running 10,100 meters or 6.2 miles. So now when you factor in times for turns, you have a pretty good race. Well, they run the race, and Lorenzo won. The original,
He's
the
the
runner.
runner, yeah.
The runner.
11 kilometers, you said?
10 kilometers.
Okay.
Yes. So he won.
Fake. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He won, but in a close race. The race started up such height that they ran it again. The race has now taken place every year since that year in 1931, and now thousands of people come to watch it each year. The odds are generally favored on the runner if you want to bet on it in the local sports books, but the egg gatherer has won multiple times, making it a very good race to the end. This event takes place today with dozens of side events happening during the race, and then a big egg-themed meal to follow. So, that is the Great Egg Race.
It still goes on today?
Still goes on
Then
today.
how come none of us have heard of that?
Where's it at?
Or am I just speaking for myself?
Gandino, Italy.
That's probably why I've never
Gandino?
heard of it. When does it take place?
Have you guys
I've
heard
never
of that?
heard of it. I feel like
In
I've heard
today's gambling climate? I don't know.
Never heard of it. I'll put money on this. No, I have never heard of that.
See, man. The first one's kind of...
But here's what I think the first one may be false. It's because I feel like Logan's always talking about we should have an Olympic Games where you have regular pedestrians.
I have been a big
He
advocate of
has
that.
been. He has
And
been.
so what
and
if
we
he...
call them the
But the
Pro
third one
Olympics.
also is kind of regular people, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but it's not
Yes.
like the Guinness World Record where it's like you take...
Okay, yeah.
people-
Alright.
My only concern is he went against everything he ever says and made a outlandish story about a guy playing Scramble because it's the most wild one.
That is true.
That's my only concern right now. But I
Yeah, the
wouldn't go
second
off
one
of my
might be.
opinion.
I really, man, I'm stumped, if you will. Thank you.
I won't.
So,
I love,
what are you
I,
leaning towards, Matt?
I love when they say the name of the show in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the first one,
Yeah.
but I'm really concerned that the second one is him using his psychology against us and
I could really go either way here.
Which one? What are you rolling? What are you kind of leaning towards?
Okay, so the first one was they were hanging upside down.
The first
Yeah.
one's
For
yes.
how long?
His was 16 minutes and 3 seconds.
And how long was the regular guy?
14 minutes 33 seconds.
It was after. Okay, well, the Chicago World Fair is a real thing.
Yeah, and that's where I have heard that's like That's where the Guinness World Record began. But he could have just said that and be like, okay, now we're gonna go off in the. Matt's convinced it's the second one though.
It might be the second.
I'm like leaning towards it just because we've gone through so many episodes where.
There's no way
But it's
anyone
also
could.
like that may be what he's
not
wanting us
know
to think
French.
right now, and it's like.
The Scrabble
He's like,
one. The
"Ah."
Scrabble one is a fun story that
Yeah.
you could kind of. It'd be really.
Well.
He might create.
Are you locking in the Scrabble?
But Spencer's
What was the last one? I
I'd be
forget.
so
already.
wrong.
The egg race was the last one,
The
Blake.
egg race. I mean,
For some reason, I'm not drawn to that one at all. Which is why, according to Spencer,
That's what exactly.
the egg race is really elaborate. He would really have to come up with a lot of.
we could spread it out so he only gets one. We could strategically team up on him so he could only get 1 point.
That's true. Well, no, he
I'm
could get
working
two.
on a perfect
No.
game over here.
Yeah.
No, he could get
You
two.
have to get
yeah,
Blake
you gotta
to
get
get the
Blake
right
to get the right 1 point.
Matt, where are you going?
I'm gonna go with number 2 and say that he finally went against what he said to
Okay.
that the most outlandish
So
one
you're
is
locking in
never
number
true, and we will lock
Okay.
in 2, and I'm just gonna close my eyes and
Yeah.
go to bed.
So I am almost confident number 2 is true.
Okay.
I'm like almost confident.
Okay.
I could be so wrong.
So okay.
I could be so wrong. I do not know. But for some reason, I feel like that's in the ether. But I could be making that up.
What was his name again?
Some New
Nigel.
Zealand dude. Nigel.
Nigel Richards.
Nigel Richards.
I am going.
Okay. See,
3 is.
I think Logan, if he was gonna make up a name, he probably wouldn't go Nigel Richards.
I have no idea. Are you thinking 1 or are you thinking 3?
I'm thinking 1 or 3. I think 2's true. I think you've
If you
convinced
want
me.
complete transparency, any
I
name
don't
I've ever
know.
made up comes from a random name generator.
Yeah.
Where you can,
Well,
That's
and then-
awesome.
yeah, so
That's my point, though. I think if you put in a name generator and it came out with Nigel Richards, you'd probably say, "Nah, let's do another one."
If
yeah.
I'm wrong too, I could be wrong. That's got me doubting myself though. But I think I'm gonna lock in.
What was the egg race? What were their names?
Lorenzo Archetti
Lorenzo
and
Archetti.
Giovanni Benazzi.
I'm going.
See, wow.
I'm going to lock in. I'm going to lock in 1.
I'm gonna lock in 3.
Okay.
Egg race.
Spread it out
Spread the love.
because
You can start with 2. It's okay.
yeah, that one's true.
You can start with 2.
Two's true, yeah.
Okay.
Nigel Richards
That's why I swear I saw something on
is
ESPN.
an absolute animal at Scrabble.
I thought I
That
saw
is
something on
insane.
ESPN.
That's insane.
I was blown away that you could win a competition with more than double the words, not ever speaking the language, and he still holds to that despite memorizing the dictionary, he couldn't speak a word. Like, if someone talks to him in French, he doesn't know what they're saying. It's pure memorization.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw that on ESPN like 3 years ago.
He's been on ESPN.
They just random.
They've
just
done some
random.
documentaries, and that's what scared me about using this story.
Okay.
Well, I've never seen any of those documentaries, so you did a good job picking that one.
Okay, which one's false? I almost went 3-2.
The Chicago World's Fair is false.
God, man.
Spencer got it.
Is it wait, is it because you always say, I go with, like, you think in Olympics? Did you base that story because of
I never even thought of that.
that? That's why I said
I was
it.
Googling random world records
Yeah.
just to see what I could find, and those were the real times of the world record holders. And actually, the current world record holder, Harold Rise, I used his name in this story from 1893 because he was a Norwegian. Give the man props. He hangs from his toes for 16 minutes.
That's why I thought it was true.
Yeah.
'Cause I also checked out the. I'm
Wow.
joking.
I literally, the only reason I was like,
Blake's been practicing for that one
Yeah.
specifically.
I locked that
That's why the
one
lock's in the room.
on the basis of, I think he likes normal people competing in random games.
The thought
That's
hadn't
a
crossed
good
my
job
mind
there,
to the
bud.
faux Olympics, but there will absolutely be an attempt to break some of these Olympics in here,
Okay.
but by potentially the podcast.
So the egg race is true.
True.
That
So
is
where
crazy.
where can I go to
Yeah,
to
seriously.
get a little skin in
I
the game?
actually saw about this for the first time on a video clip of the race and the finish of a really close finish, right? So I googled it.
But where can I
couldn't
bet
find.
on it?
Yeah, I don't know because
Barstool.
here's how
Barstool.
hard. Here's how hard it was to figure this out. All right, and we share our sources online. You guys can look up the source. I found this video. I googled everything. I couldn't find anything credible. I finally found a European website all in Italian. I went over and copied the entire website into Google Translate and read the story with the history and
Are
the
you
names
serious?
and everything. Yes.
That's
And-
amazing.
Oh wait,
Wow.
not that. That.
That's
That's unbelievable.
The link. There's not a word of English on it, and so I went. Oh, what was? Oh,
I just.
that was yeah. So
It's
I
just Spencer.
Yeah, just me.
I Google Translate
That's
that
amazing.
entire thing and then copied it over for the sake of the
Well
story.
done. That's amazing.
Wow.
Here, I almost went
You
the.
fooled me.
Yeah, I almost went
Good
with the
job.
egg one only because I've done festivals back to back seasons, and I spent like 30 minutes googling crazy festivals. Never heard of that one, and I'm like, I feel like I would have come across that one, but I
Well,
had
apparently
the Olympics.
website is some European
Yeah,
site.
there's
that
no
Logan's
English
just
website.
It's still not 100%
mysteriously
credible,
on.
They,
Okay, so Logan ended with.
7-4.
You got 2 points there, Logan. Yeah,
yeah,
Logan
so
got a
Got
4.
a 4.
He's pulling
A
away.
4-bagger?
He's pulling away.
a four bagger.
Spencer got a 2. Guest got a 2, and I got a -1. So
Tough day.
It
Tough
could be
day
worse.
for the heart and soul of the Stumped Podcast.
That is true.
Now, Warren.
So give us an update on the scores.
so update on the score at the end of episode 7.
Who's the
We've
first?
got Guest at 14.
Well done, well done.
We have Spencer at 14.
I'll take it.
We have myself dropping one of the ranks at 6. Oh, we should probably do more. Like maybe that one too, like something in there. And
Okay.
and then we got Logan at a 19.
19.
Yeah, he's pulling away a little bit.
He's
Pulling away a little
reading
bit.
newspapers in different languages,
I'm
man.
searching European websites now. We have done deep.
Well done, well done.
I liked your soup stories, Matt,
Yeah.
though, so you should give yourself a point for that. I'm
Ah,
serious.
yeah. Okay.
Like, I can say this honestly. It's been good.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
It's been a real dream come true. I
Yeah.
hope all of the 3 listeners you guys have. Sorry, that's a joke. I know there's thousands.
There it is.
Yeah, thank you. So,
European, we're international now.
yeah,
Come on
that
now.
was. Well, you're struggling to break into the American market. Sorry, all right, I'll stop.
Here, I got you.
I'll stop.
Somebody cut him off.
You guys are. You guys.
All right, that's everything.
You guys were kind enough to invite me on.
Because we're in your house.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You were
But
kind enough to host us.
this is the official podcast
There it is.
studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. But
Absolutely.
no, thanks for having me on. It was a blast. I enjoyed hearing you guys' stories. You guys really go all out here.
All
It
out.
is holy cow.
This is a production. What can
Well-
we say?
It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun.
Okay.
As always, thank you guys for
Yep.
tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Toodaloo.
Alright, you guys, that is it for today's episode. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with us. Apologize for the audio again. Got a little special treat for you here. We mentioned the conversational hour. Hang around for a little bit. You might get a brief, 5-second clip of the man, the myth, the legend, Blake Conversay, having a conversation. If you get to this point and there's no clip after this, Blake either asked me to take it down or it's still up. So thanks again. Tune in next week. Again, every Thursday we'll have a new episode out. See you soon.
Okay.
This is gonna be wild. Oh my goodness.
Did you know that those guys are brothers? The Buffer brothers. So the
Bruce and
so Bruce is the guy that he goes insane. He goes,
yeah.
and then Michael's a lot more suave, and he always goes, "Oh, let's get ready to rumble."
I didn't even know those guys' names.
They're brothers.
I didn't even know that either. Alrighty.
Welcome back to the Blake Conversation story hour.
At the end of our podcast, we have an hour of Blake Conversation holding the mic. Tune in next week for a 3-hour version.
Conclusion of today's episode. We'll have Blake Conversation just reading the stories again for soothing
The
effects.
leaves are changing outside. I saw a little more red today.
Ours are dying.
Dying.
Yeah, it's sad.
It must be that Ohio weather.
Oh, I wish I never showed him that.
Oh,
This is gonna have a record high.
This is gonna have the longest episode.
if we don't go viral for this, I'm retiring.
It's a good thing my stories are
that'd be
short.
No, I'm a fan
I've
of this
been waiting to
already.
do one with Blake for so long.
My stories are not short.
It's good to be here.
Alright, you guys ready? I hope none of you guys had sports facts.
That's exactly what I
You went at the beast.
To be the best, you must be the best.
That's so funny. Okay, we ready?
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, we'll play the intro, and then once it's done, Spencer, you do
Yep.
what you do.
Intro.
Ready?
I'll
Here we
wait.
go. 3, 2...